yoga / stretching session. You don't need any equipment, props. The only thing I have is a blanket, and you may or may not need that. I'm gonna go barefoot. You could also put socks on if you feel like you get a little chilled, because we will be doing a down dog, and sometimes our feet tend to slide a little bit if we have socks on for that. So grab what you need, come on back and join us. Okay, we are ready to roll. So I'm gonna have you move into tabletop. So that's just gonna be on hands and knees. We're gonna move that blanket out of the way. Hands right under the shoulders, fingers are spread, knees right under your hips. We're gonna inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone and the chin. And then as you exhale, round the back and tuck your chin. And we're just gonna go through a few of these back and forth. Great to loosen up the back, which may tend to get a little tight, especially if you're running longer distances, especially if you're wearing a pack or anything. You'll notice your back and your shoulders get kind of tight, so this is great for after that. And then we're gonna come back to neutral. We're gonna draw big circles with the hips. So you're gonna drop them back towards your right heel, over to the left, and then forward. Draw big circles. And then once you've done about 3 one direction, we're gonna switch to the other direction. Left heel, right heel, forward. And then come right back to neutral. All right, let's sit on back into a child's pose. So we're gonna bring the knees apart, big toes together. Let your head rest on the floor, or you can use your blanket if you wanna rest your head there. Reach the arms out nice and long so you feel this elongation all the way up through the spine, your shoulders to your fingertips. Take a couple of breaths there. And then we'll come right back up to that tabletop position, turn the toes under, and we're gonna push back to a down dog. So ears are between the arms, and we're gonna start with pedaling the feet. So you're just rocking, bending one knee, straightening the other, letting the heels come closer and closer to the ground. And then press back into that down dog, eyes towards your knees. And we're gonna pick up the right leg, take it way up into the air, let the knee bend and let that hip roll open. Feel that stretch along the front of the hip. We're gonna work our way into pigeon from here. So you're gonna bring that right knee through towards your chest, place it, the right foot over on the left side of your mat. That left leg is stretched way back behind. We're gonna come on down. You can come down a little, or you can come down a lot if you wanna rest your head on your blanket or on your hands. This is one of my go-tos every time I run. Anytime I run, I do pigeon. I try to do it, where it's somewhere comfortable, but if there's grass around, as soon as I finish, I'll get down on the grass. Trails are kind of difficult because it's gravel and things like that, but if you're near grass or even sometimes on the pavement, you can do this just fine before you ever get back in your car. Just settle in. We're gonna lift the upper body up, and we're gonna get a little quad stretch here, and also for the front of the hip. So if that left leg is back, I'm gonna take my left hand, reach back, try to grab my left ankle, and I wanna lift my chest up nice and tall. So I'm gonna squeeze my left glute, and you'll feel that open up the front of that left hip a little more. If you can't quite get to your foot, you could always use a yoga strap or a robe belt or a dog leash or anything that you have that can help you reach back to that ankle. Or if you're nice and flexible, you may be able to reach back with both hands. Some days I can do it, some days not. So feel that stretch along the front of the thigh. And then we'll release that down. Bring your hands back to the mat. Let's push back to down dog. Again, pedal the feet, back and forth. And let's pick up this time your right, oh no, we just did that. Pick up your left leg. Let the hip roll open. Feel that stretch along the front. And then when you're ready, we'll move to pigeon here. Knee comes toward your chest. Foot lands on the right side of your mat. So back leg, again, you want the kneecap and the top of the foot facing the floor. We want to try to avoid rolling into this left hip. I want you to stay off of it. If you need help, you can even take your blanket and you can put it underneath that hip to keep it from going down to the ground. We want to stay squared up here, but again, I can come down as much or as little as I need. Breathe into that hip. Good, lift the torso up. Let's do that same quad and hip flexor stretch here. We'll bend the right knee, bring that right hand back, or your strap, or whatever you're using, or both hands. Lift up nice and tall. Engage the right glutes. So if I squeeze my right glutes, you'll feel the front of the thigh open up a little bit, those opposing muscles. If one is contracted, the other is going to be able to let go better. Good, carefully release that down. We're gonna go back to one more down dog. So turn the back toes under, let's push it back. Enjoy that nice stretch through the calves, through the ankles, maybe all the way up into your hamstrings. You wanna make sure you're not collapsing in your upper body. I want you to keep it nice and tight. Pull the abs in here. This is a very active pose. It looks like you're just kind of hanging out, but you're definitely not. Everything is active. Good, bring both knees to the mat. And I'm gonna have you sit back on your feet. So really good stretch for the feet. The top of the feet, the ankles, is just sitting back in this position. This is called hero. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna go from the tops of our feet to flexing our feet. So we'll be getting more into the toes. So from here, and if you want, you can even lean back a little bit, get a little extra. And then we're gonna come forward, turn the toes under, and lean back into it. So when I'm here, I can move my weight around and try to make sure I'm getting all of my toes, not just the big toe. And I want you to go back and forth from the top of the feet, and rocking that, to up on the toes. And you may need one a lot more than the other, so maybe you'll spend a little more time on one than I do. Show our feet some love. Good. Come back to that tabletop position. I'm going to have you cross at the ankles and roll back to a seated position. Again, if that doesn't work, just swing your legs around. And I'm going to have you take both legs out in front of you first and just shake them out a little. And then we're going to bring those feet in together. So bring the heels as close to us as we can. We're going to take our hands to our toes and we're going to work on pressing the knees down, lifting the chest up, keeping your back nice and long. Working through stretching these adductors, which is the inner thighs. The adductors and the abductors, which are outside of the hip, get a lot more work when you're running trails. So if you're running roads, you're pretty much just in a straightforward path, whereas on the trail, you're shifting side to side to avoid rocks and roots and all those kind of things. So it really is full body workout. You'll notice too, if you go out on trails and you haven't been on them before or you haven't been on them much, you may even wake up with sore abs. That always surprises people. So you're getting lots of supporting muscles and just everything is working when you're out on the trails. All right, bringing those feet flat. And then what we're gonna move to is legs up the wall, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So if you're not near a spot that has a wall, you're gonna need to do that. So maybe you pause this for a second. We're gonna use our wall right behind us. So go find a spot for that and come on back. Okay, so you're gonna put yourself right next to your wall, so as close as you can get to it. And then we're gonna swing our legs up. So I'm gonna come on down. I'm gonna swing my legs up here. and place them against that wall. So you want no space between your hips and the wall. If you need a little help, if your hamstrings are really tight, you can bring your blanket over and place it underneath the hips to elevate them slightly, and that will help with that. The opposite, if you need a little extra, is you could place that blanket underneath the lower back to help create more length there. So we're just gonna let our legs hang out here. And your hands can go wherever's comfortable. You can rest them on the belly, you can rest them out to your sides, whatever feels good. So you should start to notice a change in the circulation in your legs. So if you did a long run and you've got lots of blood down pooling towards your lower legs, your ankles, your feet, this will definitely make a difference for you. You should start to feel the blood changing directions and starting to move back up the legs again. For me, it only takes me maybe 30 seconds and then I can already start to feel things changing. This is also a really great posture if you've traveled all day. So if you were traveling, whether it's sitting in a car or sitting on a plane, when you get to where you're going, this is a great way to recover from that. So if you're one of those people who tends to get swelling in their ankles and their feet, this is a great option. If you have time and you want to stay here a little longer, please take advantage of that and do it. If you're ready to move along, we're going to bring the soles of your feet together and we're going to slide the feet down the wall. So this is similar to what we just did in that seated position, just now that we're reclined. And we're just going to hang out here for a moment. And then we'll bring the knees together, feet flat, and we're going to very carefully roll to the side. And then gently bring yourself back up, finding a comfortable seated position, however that is. You could be cross-legged, you could have your legs out in front, you could sit with yourself against a wall, whatever feels right for you. But I want you to take a moment and just let your hands rest on your knees or in your lap. You can close your eyes if you like. And just take a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. And while you're here, I want you to take a quick scan over your body. Notice how things feel. Most importantly, take this time to be thankful. To be thankful for what your body has done for you, the strength that you have, the ability you have to do what you do. We'll bring the hands to your heart. Slowly begin to open the eyes. And as always, I thank you so much for sharing your time with me and for doing something so good for you. Namaste.